Hi everyone, welcome to this Google Digital Garage training session on answering questions with data. Okay, my name is Benedict. I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. Just a bit about myself. I'm an experienced coding specialist and digital skills trainer, as well as having a background in the creative industry, and I've worked in that sector for over 20 years. I would also like to introduce our amazing moderator, Nar. Nar is also a Google Digital Garage coach and will be interacting with you and answering just about all of your questions via the instant chat on the right. You can identify the moderator, of course, by her name. Her name is Nar, N-A-A. All right, so just before we start, I just wanted to call out a few things to help you today. Firstly, if you are having any trouble viewing the webinar at any stage, please do try refreshing your page. If you would like to join the instant chat today, and please do, because it's a great opportunity for us to interact with you and everything, you do need a YouTube account, which you can very easily set up by clicking on the box, which will be on the right there as well. Now, we'll be pausing throughout the session, and now we'll hopefully kindly pass on some of the different questions across to me, which is great. So please do feel free to fire away with your questions throughout. Now, just to let you know, we are running this Google Digital Garage virtual training as part of a broader offering of courses. If you would like to check out our schedule of upcoming webinar training, please see the information on this in the description below, which links you through to our website. Okay, so that is our housekeeping done. Let us now get started in answering questions with data. But before we do so, I just want to ask you all, which I can see already with a response, which is absolutely fabulous, where you're all signing on from. So let me just welcome right now here. I want to welcome Malaika from Pakistan, Pierrot Davis from Turkey, Darshini from India, Laura from Belgium, Naz from the UK, David from Nigeria, Karen from France, fashion, nature, health and wellness from Toronto, Canada, Shahid from Pakistan, Suchitra from India. Sorry, I'm doing my best with the pronunciation here. Fatima from India, Rogelio from Mexico, excellent. Julie from the UK, Ayushman from India, Fiona from Indonesia. Let me see now, any more? This is so exciting, so many people. Okay, oh yeah, hang on, I've got some more. Sharia from Italy, and Malcolm from Guernsey, and Rami from Tunisia. Okay, excellent. Welcome to you all. It's great to have you from different parts. We've also got Mr. Bana from Nepal. Excellent. It's great to have all of you joining in from different parts of the world, including Afifa from India as well. So I'll keep my eye on that as much as possible. I better carry on soon there. So welcome to all of you. So it's a great opportunity to be covering this with analytics. Now, okay, let us get started. Now, if we're going to cover these different things, as we do with most of the different talks, we're going to cover it in three different main parts, okay? So first of all, understanding the really important questions to ask about your online activity, then understanding how we can actually make sense of online data to address these questions, and thirdly, understanding how to use analytics data to understand what it tells us about our business. Okay, so those three different areas. So what are the right questions to ask? What are you trying to achieve? Ask yourselves this, maybe take a note of this, write it down in digital format or share it, share it with Nar, that's great. But what are you trying to achieve? You've got to work this out, got to think this through and everything. What questions do you need to answer to help you achieve your goal? And which reports can help you find the answers that you need, and what your next steps as a result. Now, of course, obviously, I'm asking a lot of questions you might be going, but you're supposed to tell me. I'm going to in this session. So these are some of the different areas we're going to be covering, particularly today. Now, just before we carry on to that, just a great opportunity there is now free one-to-one mentoring. I'm afraid at present it's only within the UK, so my apologies for the people in the different parts of the world, which is fabulous. But at the moment, it's only within the UK. Hopefully, this will develop and eventually be for other countries and everything. I'm looking forward to that time. But at present, if you work for a small business or charity in the UK, you can sign up, g.co/UK mentoring. Thank you very much. Now it's providing you there with the link, which is fabulous. Okay. Yes, just one other thing as well. Don't forget that on this talk, there is also actually, when you click on, if you want to see, they're not on automatically, but if you want to see the captions, you just click on the caption thing, and then you should be able to see the captions there. That's great. Okay, so that is the one-to-one mentoring. Now let us get started. It's a great opportunity. You can speak to one of us, and of course, obviously, we can give you feedback and play around with different ideas. It's always helpful to have someone to speak to and go through, for example, whether it's business plan or your working on the different digital skills you're working towards, building your strategy, all of those different things. Okay. All right. So, asking the right questions. Okay, we are going to look at the most important questions you should be asking and answering using data. Sorry, I said data. I know a lot of people say data. I say data. Got to be different. About your business, and in particular about how it is actually doing online. All right. Now, this is basically the overarching 4-step framework of getting answers from your data. Okay, so what is my objective? What question do I need to address? Where do I get that information from? And what do I do with that information? Now, I have spoken to a lot of mentees one-to-one, assisting them and everything as consultant and everything, as well as mentor here. And a lot of people say, yeah, we've got Google Analytics, for example. Yeah, but they don't actually follow through and actually doing something about it and actually using that information, then taking next steps. But all of this hopefully will help you a little bit with it today in this talk. We've only got 52 minutes left, but I'll do my best in covering all those different areas. So the overarching step framework, is particularly for today, okay? Is for thinking about the types of goals or objectives you should be setting to measure the success of your business online. Okay, so what is my objective? First of all, you need to define what your actual objectives are for your business particularly. So for examples over here. So is it tell more people about my business? Is it sell more of my product or service? Identify my most valuable customers? Is it to find new ways to engage with previous customers? Okay. So there are many, many things you can track and measure using data from the internet. So of course, one of the different things, one reasonable question is what is important to track and what is not. So your online objectives should tie in to what your business is trying to achieve. When I say business, if you think of bricks and mortar, you're like, this is my business. Your online, of course, is what your website and all the rest, or social media, whatever you're using, and making sure that they go along the same line. Okay. So we cover defining your online objectives in our digital marketing strategy session. So if you'd like to learn more about it, check out the schedule in the description below to see when we're actually running it. Okay. All right. So what questions do I need to address? Now, in order to get the right data, you've got to frame the questions correctly. Okay. Going through these different things. All right. So, for example, some of the different things, so types of questions to ask about your business, all right? We're going to have a look at these particular areas of REAN: reach, engage, activate, nurture. Those four different areas. So if you think about the funnel, the stages of your business, reach is who is my target audience and how do I reach them online? That's your first step, really. Then it's engage. Are they finding what they need when they get there and they find your website or social media? Activate. Are they actually booking? Now, it doesn't always have to be booking. Depends whether your website is for selling. Are they buying the different things there? Are they, maybe if your website is different and they need to speak to you and everything first, are they calling, or are they downloading the PDF or getting further information? All of those different things. Nurture, are they coming back? Okay, you've done a great job for them, I hope. And then, of course, are they coming back again to call on you for more work and everything? So that's some of the different areas. All right, we're going to look at each of these different areas now a little bit more in detail. Okay, so for example, reach questions. These are just some examples of reach questions. How are people finding me online? Okay, and what are my target customers searching for? What are they actually looking for? All right, we have an example. We have Pauli's Pizzeria we often use. We can use that, for example, as an example to put it into a context as well, which we'll be using later. Okay. Engage questions. What are people engaging with once they actually find me online? You can actually even track how long they spend on particular pages. Are they really reading that blog? What are they doing after that point? So it's tracking their different movements around on the websites, how much they're engaging with the different websites, different pages of the website. Which of my online communications are people engaging with the most? Okay. What are they really, spending a bit of time on? All right. Activate questions. Which channels are driving bookings? All right. And who is my customer? The big thing is, of course, you build up this persona of your customer. Let's say there's, to simplify it, let's say there's a main persona who you provide for. You build that person up. You can almost picture that person, even see what pets they have and what things they prefer and all this kind of thing to make it as real as possible for you. So you know who you're communicating with. Okay. Obviously, if you're in a very big company and there's many different divisions, of course, you can have a persona for each of the different divisions. But overall, your main customers will be the majority of the people. So if you can build that up at least to give you an idea. Nurture questions. Are my customers talking about my business online? Do my customers buy from me again? Or could be businesses as well, buy from me again. So all of those different areas. Okay, now pausing for questions. That's just the beginning, just getting started. Okay, I know now, of course, has been answering a lot of your different questions. But let me see now. So first question I've got here. Question, does Google offer a complete analytics course? This is as far as we go with the Google Analytics, but I'm going to be discussing this a little bit further on. I don't want to sort of preempt it a little bit too much, but yes, there are things you can check out, and I will be recommending these different things a little bit later. But it's a great question. I don't know who asked that question, but great question. But I will be covering that. Don't you worry. Okay. Any other questions? No, none for now. Okay, let me now move on. I'm moving a little bit ahead of time, but that's appropriate because I'm going to be spending quite a lot of time actually on Google Analytics particularly. So obviously I won't be going as detailed as Naz, thank you, Naz Thakur was asking whether we actually offer complete, but there is online things to help you with that. And obviously if you are in the UK and you're part of a small charity business, for example, we can help you and speak to you directly, of course, in a one-to-one session, hopefully eventually that will eventually get there. So thank you very much, Naz. That was a great question. So yeah, I will be covering that, and I will be extending even further with Google Analytics, especially there's a change in everything I'll be helping you with today. All right. Yes, another thing which I see Chakib actually brought up here are these videos saved. Can we find them later? Absolutely. You can see up till 24 hours after I finished exactly the same URL and everything. You'll be able to go back. Now, obviously, you could even do that now, but please don't do that now because then you'll miss out on the chat at the moment. So it's better you wait till I've finished, and then of course you can go back and see any part of the talk. You can't receive the actual talk. This is, of course, copyright Google and everything. But you can book for another session if you want to see it from another person's standpoint, because obviously we all have experience. We've been running our own companies and everything. So we'll have slightly different ways to help you with these particular problems, and great tools. Okay, so all right, let us move on. Moving on, so now which tools to actually use to get answers to remember the Ryan questions. Reach, engage, activate, and nurture. Remember those 4 points, all right? So which tools? So where do I get that information from? So let's take a look at the various tools, okay? There's quite a few different tools that you can use, and every single one of them can really help you a lot. So the tools that we can use, there's social, of course, there's social media platforms. All of the different social media platforms will always have analytics, often called Insight, for example, Facebook Insight. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all of them have some form of feedback in that way. So check them out, okay? There is some form of that, okay? Organic search, something to help you with organic search. And of course, often people are wanting to increase their search engine optimization and everything, but organic search can give you quite a lot of feedback. Now, if you think about it like this, if you think about it like a spider, now please understand, this is a nice spider. It's not a spider that's going to wrap up the different insects and then, eat them, whatever. No. But the point of this is more like it's as soon as something goes onto the web, the internet web, Google does detect that there's another website. It sends its good spiders and bots to check out the website. All it's doing is finding out information about the website so that it can create an index card so that it's got information on that particular website. So when the person is searching for that particular thing and it matches, of course, Google will, of course, provide that in the organic search result. So it's quite important that it does get information, but you can take it a step further. Because with Google Search Console, now that's Google Search Console, you can actually, you're registering that, yes, this is my website. Sorry, now we'll give you the link there of search.google.com. So it's the Google Search Console, very useful. It gives you two particular things. One of them, it'll give you feedback on the website. So for example, have you optimized your images for the web? Meaning if you've taken the picture with a DSLR camera or whatever, it's cutting out wavelengths that us Homo sapiens can't see. No disrespect, of course, to superheroes. You can see these, but we can't see. So it cuts them out, and then it compresses the image so that it's less memory. Takes less time to upload. So these are some of the things that Google Search Console will tell you about. Another thing is, for example, you've got alternate text. It's important that you have alternate text for the different images. So a person who has problems with their sight or is blind, of course, the computer will read to them what's on the screen, but of course an image it can't read. So it'll look for alternate text, and read it to them. So with all the different website builders, there's always a kind of shorter, quicker way for setting up alternate text and everything. So it's important that you have that. And also, of course, the search engines also check up that you've got it, and also to help them determine what the different images are as well. So that's quite a useful one. So that's Google Search social media platform. The other thing, it gives you a little bit of feedback on how people found your website, what particular things, keywords they were entering, which is useful. All right. You can also use a tool such as Hootsuite. Actually pulls together your social analytics across platforms, okay? So Hootsuite is a useful one. And you can check your performance in paid search platforms like Google Ads. Now, when you've got a website set up, you can set up with ads.google.com. Thank you now for the link there for them for Google Ads. It's useful for once you register your website, you've got it all up there. There are some tools you get for free. And when you click on, when you actually, when you register and everything, you will have that top right. If it just says settings, click on it and go into expert mode. Then it'll change to tools and settings. It'll probably be tools and settings anyway. Click on it, drop down menu, and then there'll be all sorts of, well, not just a drop down menu, there's many different tools. And the first column, one of them is Google Search, which you can actually use for actual keyword planner. So it'll be keyword planner in the first column. All right, lots of information provided with here, but hopefully match all these people who are here. So that's very useful. That's Google Ads. Organic search like Google Search Console and Google Business Profile. Now you can track every click made on your own website using Google Analytics, all right? Which is, you could say the big brother, the big one, which has got a lot of information. So the tools, so you've got social, organic search, your website, of course, which of course Google Analytics will be getting information about, and paid search as well. So we'll take a little bit more of a look at it. I know I've covered it already. But still, social media page insights. All right, so always there will be, I'll just take myself off the screen so you can see it a bit better. You can still hear my voice. You can see here, for example, you know, social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube offer paid insights where you can actually see how people are actually engaging with your social media and finding you. So it's a super handy tool. For example, if you have a Facebook page set up for your business. You know, and they're always, you know, free. So you get free information, which is here we've got page summary and everything and information about that. Okay. So there's that as well to help you. Another side is what I've mentioned already, but of course, repetition hopefully will help. So Google Search Console. Now you've got here Google Search Console, see the information there on the right. And you can see the number of people, for example, who have been looking at it particularly. Here we've got search type and the date particularly. And you've got on the left, you've got the dark blue, which is total clicks. And on the right, total impressions, sorry, total impressions. So of course, impressions, when it appears on the screen, when they actually click on it, then of course they're following through with it. Okay, so that's Google Search Console. It gives you lots of information. You can see underneath as well, there's certain different places where they've actually found you and the different particular keywords that they entered. All right, move on. Google Business Profile. Now, Google Business Profile is a tool for organic search insights, but of course, as well, it puts you on the Google Map, which is really useful. So this is a way to put you on the Google Map. Now, a lot of people are worried about this when they set up Google Business Profile. It used to be called Google My Business, but now it's called Google Business Profile. A lot of people are worried when they set themselves up with it that at first, they are asked the address. Now, as your home residence and everything, that's absolutely fine. But the point is you're communicating with Google at that point. That's for Google. It's not for the public. Then watch carefully when you're on to the stage where you're saying for the public, where are you? And then you can choose a region. Okay, so if you're working from home, that's absolutely fine. The point is Google needs an address to communicate and contact with you. Okay. And then later for the public, of course, then, of course, you can choose a region. So, of course, Google Business Profile has its own insights that should show you how well your business listing performs. You know, I'll take myself off again. Do people find you on a map, then click on for directions or give you a call? So there's different information here as well. Okay. There's direct, where you've got there the green, and discovery, where they found you on something like, you know, social media, or they search for your particular thing. Okay. There we go. So that's some of the information. All right. Next, Google Analytics. Right. Okay, now Google Analytics is a tool for website insights, particularly for websites. You can sign up for free. It's, a very popular website analytics tool, and you can monitor every click on your site. So we'll take a closer look at Google Analytics after I've answered a few more of your questions, which I can see are coming up, which is great. So pausing for questions. Rogelio, okay, great. I lived for 7 years in Spain, entonces podría hablar en español, pero I'll answer in English. Okay, so Rogelio, is this course going to teach us how to create a Google Analytics account? Yes, but quite briefly. Now, I will be giving you I don't know about links. Maybe now if you can look for some of these different ones to help you. But I'll be taking you through the basic process, and I'll tell you where to particularly look. All right? I hope that helps you, Rogelio. Suchitra, under organic search result, how can I know where my website is standing? Which page of search engine? Okay, so let me have a look. So under organic search result, how can I know where my website is standing? Okay, great question. With that one there, what you can use is there's different tools you can use to help you, particularly with that one, with the organic search result. It will give you some information when you're actually on Google Search Console. It'll give you some information, but for further information, there are some other tools to further look. And also, don't forget, Google Analytics will give you a lot of information. It's almost too much, but of course it's never too much. But the point is you've got to hone it down to what you're particularly looking. So there are particular ways, and in fact, I can't go through the full thing here now, Suchitra, but there are ways there's some different courses which I'm going to give you to help you with that. All right. Make money online. So I'm doing my best. No, I'm joking. I have settled up Google Analytics account. Excellent. For like a month before, but it's not reflecting any data. Okay. It's a way I can find if I have connected okay, perfect. Great. Shall I call you Make for shortened form? Okay, so yes, with Google Analytics account, what you need to make sure is that once you've registered with Google Analytics, you've put that piece of coding in the header of each of the pages. But there's different versions. As you only did it a month ago, you actually need to set up different setups, and I'll be getting to that. Don't worry, but I will get to that. I don't want to kind of preempt everything here, so I will come back to that. Make money online. So fashion, nature, health, and wellness. That's what I keep trying for. So I've made a website from Google Sites, and it has a website from Google Sites. Okay, and it has 5 pages. Great. I want to know how and where I can paste Google Tag. Yes. Now this is actually what I was going to I'll bring up a little bit more. Tags comes in much more with the version that you've got, so that I can get data of all pages of my site. Okay. Fashion, nature, health, and wellness. I'd love to tell you everything, but I don't think we're going to have time for me to go into that specific detail. But I will be giving you some idea of where to look to assist you and help you, okay, once we get onto that particular details. But great questions, everyone. This is wonderful you're all here, but I will be helping you, you know what I mean, knowing where to look for all those things, because the point is it will go to really technical detail, and then I would start losing people. So I'm going to stay with what we're covering at the moment. Okay, but I will give you links and help with that. All right, give me a chance. I'll get there. All right, so use the data from Google Analytics. Okay, we know what we want to ask. We know where the data is, how we put all the two together. Okay, we're going to use Google Analytics as an example, but remember to use whichever tool is right for your business. Very important. If you're only on social media, that's fine. Use the social media feedback and everything. All right. Now, what do I do with that information? Okay, the fourth question, what do I do with that information? Okay, so over here, we've got Google Analytics dashboard. Let me just move this away so I'm not in the picture anymore. You can set up a dashboard with Google Analytics, which is very useful. You put all the important information that you need to check. You put it on the dashboard. It doesn't mean you have to go into subfolder. You know, it's all there. So in many ways, it helps you. Now, analytics, of course, has its own language. So if you don't really understand any of the terms, then hover on the question mark beside them for an explanation. So for instance, you may see the numbers of visits is different than visitors because one person visitor can come back for multiple visits, okay? And discover who your users are by geographic location, discover how you acquire them, and visits and when they visit as well. All of those things can help you masses. All right. I shall return. Okay, so how to set up a Google Analytics account now. Here comes the big statement now, because you go to analytics.google.com. You choose a name for your account. You choose an industry category. All right. This is the process that you go through. All right. Okay. Now, where to find the tracking code? This is what brings up when you set it up here. Okay. There are two different versions of Google Analytics at the moment working at present. There's one called Google Analytics version 3, because of course it is version 3, and there's a Google Analytics version 4. Now, if you set up, for example, Make Money Online, you set up a month ago, therefore, by default, you'll be on Google Analytics version 4. Now, halfway through next year, everyone will be changing to Google Analytics 4. So in some ways, you're at the forefront, which is great, which is helpful. The only difficulty is there is, for example, and NAR will provide you with the link here for Google Analytics Academy. I mean, of course, obviously, if you Google it and you search for it, you would find it, Google Analytics Academy. But now, Google Analytics Academy is very helpful, but it's really set up for Google Analytics version 3, all right? Now, Google Analytics version 4, of course, which is a new version, what I'd recommend, maybe just for starting, is you go onto YouTube and you search for Google Analytics version 4. And of course, there's third party, which are very, very useful. I'm not knocking them. Don't get me wrong there. But start off with the ones which is provided by Google and by Google. And then you kind of can see it quite clearly. Often we go for simple backgrounds, quite clear in front of the camera and everything. But start with that, and then obviously find out more and more. So that's Google Analytics version 4, and then there's Google Analytics 3. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit of the difference. One of them is, okay, I'll gradually cover the different things. Now, to tell which version you have, what I'd recommend, in fact, you can even do it now, so long as you're not too distracted from this talk, open a new tab, go into analytics.google.com, which of course is the link for Google Analytics. Go there and go into admin. Now, admin, you've got the screen in front of you, bottom left, there's a cog. Click on the cog, which takes you through to admin. All right. Now, when you're in admin, if you see 3 columns in front of you, you are in Google Analytics version 3, okay? Which case I'd recommend you go into Google Analytics Academy to learn about Google Analytics 3, maybe just to get to know it. And in the long term, get to know Google Analytics 4 so you're ready for the transition. If you've only got 2 columns, start immediately with Google Analytics 4. Go on to YouTube, find the different courses and everything, get started and get to know it, all the particular details. It works with a different system, and I'll be covering both now with Google Analytics 3, Google Analytics 4. We'll have on the screen Google Analytics 3, but I will mention Google Analytics 4 as well, the slight difference, okay, for some of the different things. I can't cover everything, but I'll cover as much as I can within this talk. Okay, so that is Google Analytics 3, and that is Google Analytics 4. Okay. Just so you're aware of the difference, because I have had people who have been confused about it because they go to Google Analytics Academy and they're going, but it's not the same. And it's not quite the same because, of course, it's Google Analytics 4, so it'll be a different version. Now, if your company has been around for a long time, you'll still be Google Analytics 3, and that's absolutely fine. They will go through the transition halfway through next year. Something else you can do, you can look into it, you can search for it, you can set up both at the same time for the same website. I mean, obviously, you know, I don't want to complicate your lives. No doubt you are all very busy doing what you do in your business. So if you are that busy, don't worry about it, you know. Preferably just get to know the version that you've got for now and then just keep working on it, okay? Okay. Now, let us now get started with Google Analytics here with the different sides. Now, let's have a look at some of the different places of where to find the tracking code. Now, you would go into admin. Do you remember that cog I was speaking to you about? Here you can see the cog there. It's a sort of blue color there, bottom left. So that is in admin. That's to show that you're in admin, all right? So then you click onto the column, which is titled property. Now, this would be with Google Analytics 3 or Google Analytics 4, you would click on property, which is the column. Now, if you're in Google Analytics version 3, it uses the UA system, Universal Analytics UA, and so you would actually go on to tracking, and then you go on to the tracking code, okay? And there you would actually get, sorry, just in water, just keep me going. There you would actually get the code that you would put in the header of each of the different pages. You also have a G tag. So it's quite a good idea if you get used to G tag as well, just to get to know it. You can see further down there, website tracking gtag.js. Because certainly Google Analytics 4 uses just, you know, a lot of that. Okay. All right. The place, let me put myself back on the screen again, and I'll explain to you. If you're in Google Analytics 4, you're going to property column, but you go into data streams. That's what you click on, data streams. And as we say, data stream, I like to say data streams. So you go into data streams. If you've got many different websites, they'll give you a list of different websites. You click on the website. If there's only one, you click on that website. And then it'll give you screen and everything on the right-hand side. Make sure I'm on your right-hand side. You will see measurement ID. Of course, tracking has got a bad name anyway to it, and anyway, it's for measurement. It's not really for tracking. We're not tracking people down and all the rest. The point is, it's an anonymous system. This is the way the system works. It's anonymous. It can pick up certain factors about it, but it certainly can't track a person, no. So we've changed it because it just seems better suited to measurement, because you're measuring the number of people and for demographically or whatever it might be. So it's measurement ID. And again, of course, you put the measurement ID, the header of each of the different pages. But you've also got to sort out the G tag. Now, I can't go into too much detail about that in this session because I would need to really demonstrate it as well so you can see it and all the rest. But don't forget, if you're on Google Analytics version 4, there is, in fact, you know, if you go onto YouTube, there's a lot of the different sessions going through the whole process to help you. Because that's the whole point. It's a tool. It's a free tool, you know, and the point is, you know, obviously Google will want you to be able to use that tool to the best of your ability. And okay, so all right, so that's for the tracking code and all the rest. Once you've got it, you put it in the head. Now, if you're not used to coding, which of course I do specialize in, but I used to do coding for game design. That's what I lectured in. But certainly for websites, what actually happens is if you're actually looking for it, for header, and you have the code in front of you, head is, if you take a square, it's between square brackets and it says head. And then it closes /head to finish head. And then you've got body, and then you've got footer as well. So you've got the three sections of the page. Head is really to prepare the page, all right? And then, of course, the body is the content of the page. So that's where you would actually put the tracking code. That's where, or the measurement ID, depending on which version you're using. G tag is a little bit long. And I'm not going to go into that because time-wise, and I would need to really open another one to show you and everything. Don't forget, though, there's a one-to-one mentoring. We can assist you and help you to the best of our ability. But even then, it's best if you follow some of these different videos, go through all those different steps, and then have ready for the next questions, of course, on particular things on how to take advantage of it. Because if you think about it, one of the big things as well with data, we've got data, people who are data analytics. Of course, they are the people who take all this information and then learn how to actually interpret it and come to decisions from it. That's what data analytics is. It's quite a complicated thing. It's a little bit, I always think of, I don't know if you've seen Inspector Clouseau or Inspector Morse, followed by Inspector Lewis. It's a very much an inspector business. You kind of like, I got this information. What does that information mean? So it's taking that, interpreting and working out your conclusions from it and what steps to take. Okay. Now, keep in mind that every time a page loads, the tracking code will collect and send updated information about the user's activity. Now, Google Analytics groups this activity into a period of time called a session. Okay. That's where it's different with Google Analytics version 4, where they have events and everything. Okay. All right. Let's move on. I'm doing fine on time. I'm taking my time a little bit with this, just so you can get a little bit accustomed to it. And of course, there will be questions coming up. I'll help you as much as I can. I can't go to too much detail, I'm afraid, because some of these you'll really need the video there so you can pause it and go through step by step. Okay. All right, how to install the tracking code. Okay. Now, as it says on the screen there, when you're actually using a website builder or blog, there may be a simple field where you can actually add the tracking ID for your website. Okay. So that's the Google Analytics says UA. It starts off with regardless of how you actually build your website, the code needs to be installed on every page of your site. Okay. Now, your developer should be able to help you with this as well. Don't forget, if you're employing a developer, obviously the developer should be able to help you with this. But if you built this website yourself, that's great. Using WordPress, Wix, or GoDaddy, or whatever it might be, there normally is a guide to do this on your actual site. And don't forget as well, you will be paying for a host every month. The host there, of course, should be able to assist you and help you, at least point you in the right direction to some videos to assist you with the process. Okay. Now, if it's WordPress, for example, either install, there's a plugin, for example, or some themes or templates allow you to just enter in the unique tracking ID, depending which one you're using. All right. So I hope that helps you. Lose my voice, talking too much. Okay. Now, once you've done all that, you've entered that, and don't forget as well, Google Analytics version 4, you've entered the G tag as well and everything, got that sorted. The next thing is to actually find out information, get the information that you're getting from this, okay? Sorry, just a glass of water just to keep me going. Now, I'm going to be covering a couple of the different areas of reporting because it'll give you feedback in the form of a report. Okay. So the four main areas are, and I'm going to be telling you this as well because there is the area particularly for Google Analytics version 3, and there's also Google Analytics version 4 version. All right. So all of Google Analytics reports are actually grouped into 4 main areas to help you to answer those questions, okay, that we mentioned before. Now you will see these these on the navigation menu on the left side of your home screen, okay? All right, now, as I said, there will be some changes. There are some changes. So one of the things is, okay, who are my users? That's particularly with audience. How do they find me? That's, with acquisition. What do they do when they're actually on my site? That's behavior. And have they completed the goals I want to track? That's conversions. Okay. Now, this is where some of the changes happen between Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics version 4. Behavior, the third one down, what are they doing? Because, of course, we associate more behavior nowadays with children in the class, at worst, monkeys in a cage, whatever it might be, for a test and everything. Now we've changed that name to engagement. It just seems more appropriate because it's engagement when on the page. So Google Analytics 3, it's behavior. Google Analytics 4, it's engagement. Have they completed the goals I want to track? With this one here, it's conversions with Google Analytics version 3, but of course you're not converting someone to a new religion, whatever it might be. It's instead, we're actually using the word monetization because it's just more appropriate as well. Now, of course, for conversions or monetization to work, goals have got to be set up to track specific actions, all right? So once you've mastered the basics, this is really worth doing. Now, I'll tell you why particularly as well. Goals, of course, you set up particular goals. Now, some of them might be you could set up a particular page. So if they actually go through the process and you've got that site, thank you so much for buying. I hope we see you can you put the tracking code onto that page. That's great. But it's not the only way that you can do it nowadays. If they go through a function, like let's say they download a PDF, that's a function you can set up so that you're tracking those. And you can set up so that you can set that as a goal. If they spend a certain amount of time on a particular page, you can set that up as a goal. So goals have become much more, you could say, intelligent now. It's not only for selling. But what is great about it as well is when you're on Google Analytics, which I'll show you in the next one, actually. In fact, let me show you this now. With Google Analytics, you have on the left, you've got the kind of like the what dimension, okay? So, for example, here we go, organic search, referral, direct paid search, social, affiliates, display. That's the what as of the dimension. Metrics is the numbers, okay? So it's the result of each of these different things. All right. So you could see, so the green dimension is the which or what question. It's a dimension. So, city, age, type, device type. Metric is a measure or count of something. So, for example, if we find ourselves having a how many question, particularly, to give you an idea. Now, one of the things here you see, I don't know if you see, take myself off the screen, you see next to users, there's an arrow pointing down. You can click on any of those different titles at the top, and it'll put with the arrow going down, it'll put the highest at the top and the lowest at the bottom with that particular column. Now, what is really useful is you see you have your goals. That goal could appear as another column. And then you're really looking at the ones who actually downloaded the PDF, bought the product, or you can have them right at the top and you can follow and track their particular site. So that is really, really useful. It's another metric that you're adding on, which is so useful. So I'd really recommend that you do set up your goals, okay? All right. Let us now move on. So that is a process again. You can set up the goals, you can set it up in admin, or if you go on to conversions or you go on to Google Analytics version 4, monetization, it'll say you need to set up goals. You go through the process, and that will help you so much. So it'd be much more specific to your website and what you're trying to achieve there. Okay. Using Rian to ask the right questions. Okay, so we're going to run through now the Rian questions we covered earlier in the session and map this. This is where we can actually get information on Google Analytics to find the actual particular answers. Okay, so reach. Let's have a look at reach particularly. So how are people finding me online? Now, I'm afraid I'm going to just cover this in Google Analytics 3, not Google Analytics 4. Do check out on the YouTube. There's Google Analytics 4. It'll help you with all of those different sides. but just with Google Analytics 3 for these ones, okay? Once you found it, you'll be away. And don't forget, once you found it, you can add that to the dashboard. So you don't have to go finding it each time, which is really useful. Don't forget that. So, all right. The place you actually go to find this, I'll take myself off the screen. Of course, you can see there, Google Analytics acquisition, and you can see with the shot over there, you've got the acquisition, which has been chosen. Then it's all traffic, which has got the arrow to the left of it, and then underneath that, channels. So it's Google Analytics acquisition, all traffic, channels report, of course. And then you can actually see, for example, can someone give me this answer? Because I know it's a bit small, and my apologies, my remote control used to zoom things in. I'm afraid it's not working on me. This is not helpful. But if you can tell me what's at the top of the list, if you can quickly tell now, I will see. Don't worry now, you don't have to copy it. I'll see it. So anyone who can see, I know there's a slight lag, of course, from when I'm talking to when you're seeing it. But if you can put me what's top of the list. What's top of the list on the example we have there on the right? So which particular channel grouping is right at the top? Let's just see if anyone sees that. You're quite right. It is Google search. It's not actually Google search, organic search. Absolutely. It's organic search. And to be at the top of the list with organic search, thank you so much. Thank you, Ayushman, Karen, Rogelio, Kulin. Wonderful. So, indeed, organic search is right at the top. And Malaika. It's wonderful to be at the top with that because it is difficult often to be at the top with organic search, but sometimes it is. And then, of course, straight underneath there's referral, then there's direct, and then there is social media, paid search, affiliates, and then there's display. So it gives you an idea, rough idea. All right. Thank you. Well done, those who did follow after that. I'm just going to move on to the next one because we're running out of time. Okay, so let's have a look at this reach. So identify which search terms are driving organic traffic. Now, how can you find this? Of course, there's Google Analytics. Don't forget there's Google Search Console will give you those keywords as well to help you. And if they're not coming out through Google Analytics, make sure that they are linking and they're working smoothly. So look to improve links from our social media platforms as well. Develop relationships with the referral websites as well. Some of the different ideas that you could be doing. Just some ideas. All right. Okay, using Rian to ask the right questions. What are people engaging with when they find me online? Engage. So let's have a look at this. So what are people engaging with when they find me online? So you go to Google Analytics, you can go to behavior, you can see as well what's been chosen there on the right. Then you go to site content, all pages, and then it gives you the different ones. Now, typically, this is very typical, right at the top is home. That's very typical with different websites, that'll be at the top. But then you can see after that, it's basket.html, let me see now. It's quite difficult even for me to read. So I won't ask you with that one, but you can see the different pages and how long they're spent on the different pages. Now, this report tells us which pages users come across and navigate to which they are on the actual website. You can tell from the metrics in the columns running left to right how engaged users are with the various different pages, okay? Which is really useful, okay? So the big questions here are, what are people engaging with when they find me online? So what can we do with this information? So learn which pages are not getting any views, okay? Discover what is really engaging to our visitors, and discover that we lose a lot of people at the payment page. This page might need to be simplified. So if they're spending ages and they're not actually buying, a lot of empty baskets, reduce fields to fill. So simplify everything to make it really, really helpful in that way. And if you get lots of traffic to a page, but a high bounce rate, then we need to check we're actually showing them what they want to see when they actually get there. Now, bounce rate can often be, if it's 50%, that's not too bad often. But if you're getting like 75, 80, 85, then you may need to really have a good close look at that. I mean, obviously, if it's lower, then great. But, sometimes, yeah, it takes a bit of time. And if you have a video on a page and people hang around on the page for longer than it takes to play, then maybe they're finding it interesting. If they all leave partway through, what is actually putting them off? That's a really useful thing you can use as well. Okay. Using Rian to ask the right questions, activate, is all about getting people to take the action we want them to take. So it could be as easy to understand as a sale. So if we don't sell online, it could be ring us up in order to book, downloading a white paper, or filling in the contact us form, for example. Okay, so which channel is driving the most bookings? Okay. I know it's not always bookings, but whatever you're particularly wanting to achieve with it. Okay, so let me just take myself off the screen again. We've got there acquisition, all traffic channels. Okay, and there you can see particularly, and there you can actually use segmentation as well. You can see on the right hand side, conversion rates. You see, this is where you can be using your goals particularly as well. Completion and value as well. So all of those different columns you could be entering in as well, which is so useful. Okay, again, we want to know the information pertaining to where people found us. So check out the acquisition area. We look at this report earlier too, but this time, okay, we're already focusing on the conversion metrics in the far right corner. And okay, registrations, translating them to table bookings as well. So a couple of the different things you could be using from this, what we could do with this information, identify which referring sites drive conversions. For referring sites bring good quality traffic, can we develop a partnership and look out for underperforming referring sites and consider reviewing the partnership? Okay, so using Rian to ask the right questions, nurture, is about what actually happens when you've activated the relationship. Do they leave a review somewhere? Do they book again? So are my customers happy to leave a review? Here we've got conversions, e-commerce, custom reports, okay, to give you an idea, to get you started with those different things. All right, so this website has set up the key points of their sales funnel as a series of goals so they can track them in Google Analytics because they're looking at a goal. Check out the conversion menu. So goals don't have to be e-commerce. There can be anything that is a key action for you. Download a document, sign up for something, whatever it might be, which I've mentioned to you already. Okay, so nurture. If they want to learn more about dealing with reviews, okay, so there's writing for social media. If you've got a lot of different things on social media, people will check out it there, read the different things, get genuine feedback from people, have already bought the products, respond to all reviews, good and bad. There's one we have writing for social media. I recommend how to respond proactively and everything, and try different ways to encourage purchasers to leave a review. And, it's often leaving reviews often such a hassle, you know what I mean? But make sure they can do it there and then. Okay, so Shahid, why Google and Universal Analytics still exists? Okay, it still exists for Google Analytics version 3. The Google's still running the Google User Analytics with Analytics 4. In the near future, will Google close? All of that will be going through a change, Shahid. I don't want to go too much into detail of all of those different sides, but a lot of those different things, don't forget they're still running at the moment. Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 4 are running at the same time. So that's partly the reason. So Suchitra, will there be a session on how to use analytics in depth? There is on YouTube. Do check it out. And as well, Google Analytics version 3, there's Google Analytics Academy, which I'm sure now has provided you with a link there. Rogelio, if let me think later. Yeah, no, I'm afraid I can't do that. But don't forget, there's one-to-one, which is a great opportunity if you are in the UK. Okay, so what are your next steps? Okay, a lot to take away. Okay, we covered masses. I've just got 1 minute to go. This has been fabulous talking to you. Great questions, fabulous questions. There have been quite a few which have been quite sort of, I can't cover in this session. We've only got an hour. But do please check Google Analytics Academy. Check out the video, they're totally free. And check out YouTube, Google Analytics version 4, depending on which one you've got. Get started with that. Get as much information. And that can really help you masses. All right? So, free one-to-one mentoring available from Google. This is for small business charity in the UK only. Thank you now for the link there for them and everything. That's g.co/UK mentoring. Get started with that. We can help you individually, one of us and everything, assisting with the different things. But I'm afraid at the moment it's only the UK. All right. So everyone, thank you for all your fabulous, great questions, I must say, being fabulous. We're going to wrap up here, as we're out of time. So I hope that has been a useful dive into answering questions with data today. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this session, if you're interested in more training from Google Digital Garage, there are a few ways you can actually continue learning. We are running many more Google Digital Garage webinars in different subjects. If you would like to check out the schedule of the webinars, please see information on this description below. There's topics available to watch totally free and everything. Also, if you would like to carry on learning online, there's Google Digital Garage website. You can do 24/7. I recommend particularly fundamentals of digital marketing. Finally, if you have any feedback or questions and everything, please provide it now. It'd be fabulous to get feedback now. But also, if you want to go even further, team@thedigitalgarage.co.uk, also at the bottom of the description there. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank particularly now, you've been absolutely fabulous. Thank you, all of you. It's been great joining you and communicating with you and everything. We really do look forward to welcoming you again to another Google Digital Garage training session soon.